Yeah, like I said, there's not really nothing much to his character besides him being the meathead of the group and whatnot. And I don't think he gets as nearly as much characterization as Chris because Chris, like in the beginning, and I'm going to keep sounding repetitive every time I'm going to say Chris has a character arc and he has character development, but let me break it down for you. So basically, throughout season 1 and 2, Chris, as you know, is a 12-year-old kid who idolizes and looks up to Sonic and his friends, right? And pretty much throughout the entire season 1 and season 2, he pretty much grows and develops as a character more from watching Sonic and his friends in action. Like they all go on adventures together, etc. and whatnot. It helps him break out of his little shell because Chris, as you know, he's a rich kid. His parents, they have a lot of money. They have jobs and stuff, like really high profile jobs. So they're not really able to spend too much time with Chris. So Chris has always felt a little lonesome without his parents around. I mean, even though yes, he has his grandpa, yes, he has his housekeepers, and yes, he also has his friends like Danny, Francis, and Helen. However, Chris, it's just things felt different when Sonic and his friends came along because that way they helped him break out of his shell and become much more of a more stronger, confident character with a clear purpose. And as you can see in season 3, Chris has became a lot smarter. He literally built a device that can literally travel to other dimensions and stuff. That's pretty big. When he was 18, he what else? And also he ended up making up and having a better relationship with his parents than he was when he was like 12, right? So yeah, so that's Chris's character. And yes, I think that characterization alone is better than most of the people that I'm going to name here on this list. So if I sound repetitive, forgive me, but that's what I think about Chris's character. At least I don't think in the world. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. My computer kind of just went on sleep mode and it threw me off for a second, probably because this video is so long and I've just been talking straight at it. But anyways, Hershey the cat. I mean, not a bad character. I mean, if you want to hate Chris because he screws up a lot, I mean, Hershey once almost got Sally killed and whatnot when she no really she was actually almost supposed to be the one who almost killed Sally, technically speaking, because remember like that in game where Sally was supposed to die. Well, Hershey ended up getting tricked. She ended up getting tricked into wearing some kind of weird Sonic mask and whatnot, and then she found this line and whatnot, like this rope, and she thought she saw Snively climbing up that rope because the mask makes you see Snively all around. And basically, she ended up cutting that line, which was actually Sally's, and she ended up falling and was like really severely injured. And that would have probably killed Sally, but instead it actually comatose her. So if you want to hate Chris because he screws up a lot, Hershey, yeah, that is probably a bigger screw up than that. I don't think it gets any worse than that. So no, I don't think Hershey's a bad character, but I don't think she's better than Chris by a long shot. All right, next up we have Omochao. So this is another hated character in the Sonic series. I honestly don't care much about Omochao. I literally forget about this character almost all the time. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, Omochao. Basically just gives you instructions and whatnot, basic tutorial stuff. That's it. Obviously, Omochao is not a better character than Chris by any means. So yeah, like what else can I say? So that's Omochao. Next up, we have Dave the Intern, another Sonic Boom character. Dave is basically just supposed to be the parody kind of character of, I guess, like the type of guy where he works at some kind of job or whatever, lives with his mom. It kind of reminds me of, well, I wouldn't say like myself, but yeah, that sounds like a harsh reality. Come, yeah, which is, but yeah. But anyways, yeah, that's Dave the Intern. I don't think he's a better character than Chris. He's basically this weird kind of guy who wants to become an evil scientist like Dr. Eggman, etc. Next up, we have Black Doom. Yep. Now, yeah, we have Black Doom. We're getting there on number 15. So Black Doom is honestly probably one of the best villains I think inside the Sonic games, but honestly, I just feel like just I don't know about this character. Like he's kind of like just a generic villain who wants to take over the entire universe and whatnot. He's a tyrant, alien conqueror. What else did you expect? He's also Shadow's dad and whatnot. But I guess he just didn't really pull it off inside Shadow the Hedgehog. A lot of people did not like the game and whatnot. But yeah, and he basically just tried to trick Shadow into, or not trick Shadow, but he tried to control Shadow and turn him against the alien race. But honestly, I mean not the alien race, against the human race. My bad. Or yeah. But obviously that didn't work out well to his favor, and he ended up getting defeated. So it is what it is. But anyways, that's Black Doom. I honestly think that Chris is more well written than he is. So yeah. And then next up we have Infinite the Jackal. Now we're starting to get into some bigger characters. So Infinite the Jackal, I think Chris is definitely a better character than Infinite. Infinite had a lot of potential to be better, but he really to me came off as a very stereotypical anime type of villain where he's like, I want more power and whatnot and stuff, and oh, power, it controls everything. I'm evil. Look at me. I mean, it's impressive that he defeated Sonic and Silver and whatnot, and he had this like he wanted to beat Shadow or something, or he wanted to prove his strength or his worth or whatever, I guess. But honestly, though, Infinite, he was very underutilized in that game. He was really underwritten. And I think that maybe if they gave him a second chance, he could come back as a better villain, if I'm going to be honest. But nah, Infinite is not a better character than Chris by any means. And those are, yeah, yeah, that's about it. Next up, we have Lyric the Ancient. Lyric the Ancient. So if you don't know who Lyric is basically, yeah, another forgettable Sonic character, huh? How many of you guys remember Lyric unless you played Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric? But yeah, so who is Lyric? So Lyric was supposed to be the main antagonist of Sonic Boom, or at least he's the main antagonist of Sonic Boom, Shattered Crystal, and of course Rise of Lyric. Rise of Lyric, I hear, is one of the worst Sonic games out there. I've never played it myself. But if I ever get a Wii U or something, or if it ever gets remastered, I'll try it out just to, I don't know, just to see what it's like, or see what all the talk is about. But honestly, I hear it's probably one of the worst Sonic games. Lyric did not pull it off as a villain. He basically likes to mind control people and whatnot. So basically some M. Bison stuff right there, I guess. Um, yeah, he pretty much fell really short as a villain. And honestly, I was expecting him to come back in like the Sonic Boom TV series, but hell, out of all those like I think it was like what 51 or 52 episodes, he never showed up. I was like, wow, they've never used a Lyric inside Sonic Boom, the show. Wow, that's pretty bad. But yeah, so Lyric. Next up, we got the Deadly Six. Now, I know they all could have gotten the slot over here, but nah, I'm putting them all together. So the Deadly Six: Zaz, Zuma, Xena, Zor, Zink, and Zavok. So what about these characters? I feel like these characters aren't necessarily bad either. A lot of people really hate the Deadly Six. Personally, myself, I don't hate all of them. I at least like Master Zik and Zavok. Master Zik is okay, but Zavok, I feel like as a villain, he's very underwritten and whatnot. And I feel like if they fleshed out the Deadly Six a lot more, or the Yeti race, and given them more of a history, they could have probably been more better characters than what they're portrayed to be. But outside of that, though, yeah, they're very underwritten and whatnot. And they're just intended to be like, I guess, generic bad guys or villains and whatnot who just somehow get used by Dr. Eggman at the end of the day. But I think in the IDW comics, the writers are really giving them, even right now, like they're actually getting a story, like a little bit of a story arc right here, which is pretty cool. But excuse me, I just feel like they're just very underwritten characters in the games and whatnot, and I honestly don't see how they're better than Chris. I mean, most of them are a bunch of stereotypes, like Xena. She's supposed to be the girl. She's like, oh, my nail art, you ruined my nail art. Or Zuma, he's basically likes to eat. Zaz, he's the heavy punk rock type of guy, and Zora is the emo looking one. So that's about it. That's all their characters are, and I'm pretty sure Chris is by far outside of that. He's not a certain stereotype or whatever, whatever the case may be. Next up, we got Boko and Dico. So Boko and Dico are two characters from the Sonic X TV series. They're basically Eggman's sidekicks in that show. I honestly don't have nothing against them either, but I just don't see how they're better characters than than Chris Thorndyke. They're mostly just they come off as like Team Rocket in a way, or like Orbot and Cubot or etc. or Scratch and Grounder. That's literally their purpose. Again, I have nothing against these two characters, but it's just that well, they're not better than Chris. So yes, they will make this list. Now we're going to get into the top 10. So number 10, I have Charmy B. So again, I have nothing against Charmy. He's another main series character. A lot of people might think Charmy's annoying. I personally don't have any gripes with Charmy, but Charmy, yeah, I don't see how he's a better rating character than Chris, or he has any of the same level of characterization as him. And that's just my opinion. Next up, number 9, we have Mark the Turpin. Now, if you don't remember who Mark the Turpin is, he's basically a character from Sonic Boom. He's supposed to be a parody of the worst kind of Sonic fans out there and whatnot. Mark basically kidnapped Sonic and his friends and was basically going to keep him downstairs. I mean, not downstairs, keep him in his house and whatnot, locked up, like they're just cheap property. And was going to read him his fan fiction and all that. Oh my God, Mark is just too much. He basically, yeah, like he, yeah. Now, if you think Chris is creepy or if he's a kidnapper, this is literally Mark the Turpin's character. And yes, I get it. Mark the Turpin is supposed to be a parody character. And yes, he's still not he's still yeah, like Chris is obviously a better guy than this. Like he has better characterization, Chris has better motives, etc. Mark the Turpin is literally just a fanboy. Yeah, just a bad fanboy. Kind of like Syndrome, but Syndrome's more well written than that, and he's actually portrayed to be a villain. But yeah, so Mark the Turpin. Next up, we have King Max. And now this is where it gets a little controversial. So King Max, if you don't know who he is, he's basically from the Archie comics. He's Sally's dad and whatnot, and pretty much what has King Max done? King Max, he's basically, and I'm talking about King Max from the pre-Archie, the pre-Genesis wave. In the post-Genesis, his name is changed to King Nigel, and he's a whole different character. But in the Archie, in the original, he was basically Sally's dad. He was in an arranged marriage with Sally's mom. He basically tried to force Sally to marry Antoine and whatnot, or else he would have disowned her, which I think he's one of the most terrible dads in the Sonic series, actually. Pretty much he puts his kingdom, well, which is, I guess, kind of noble. He puts his kingdom above all else, but he will force that upon Sally and whatnot. So I just don't like how King Max treats Sally and whatnot. So, yeah. Next up, we have Orbot and Cubot, another band of the two sidekicks of Dr. Eggman. I do not think Orbot or Cubot are better characters than Chris. They are not better characters than Chris. They're basically just there for comedic reasons, nothing else, nothing more, nothing less. Next up, we have Coconuts. Now, Coconuts, if you remember from Mitch's Sonic the Hedgehog or the earlier classic Sonic stuff, Coconuts is just that monkey robot and whatnot. He's always like, I don't know. He's always trying to prove himself that he's better than Scratching Rounder and stuff, which that's pretty bad if you had to prove yourself better than Scratching Rounder. But yeah, Coconut's obviously not as good as Chris. Chris is way better than this guy. Same can be said about Scratching Rounder, who are next up on my list, who are basically just annoying characters. And that's it. All right, next up we have number 4. Number 4, we have Mina the Mongoose. Let me stop. It's not Mina the Mongoose. We actually got her boyfriend, Ash the Mongoose, on here. And if you know who Ash is basically Mina's boyfriend in the Archie comics and her manager. Basically, Ash, he's just a bit of an asshole to like everybody, just in his way. Anyone who's not Mina, he's pretty much an asshole to. Like he treats them like garbage. Like even like Sonic and stuff, and that can be said. Like, and I can understand with Sonic because he's a little jealous of Sonic because Mina had like he's aware that Mina had feelings for him and whatnot. So yeah, there is that. But he just pretty much acts like a total asshole towards Sonic and whatnot, and not even just Sonic, but even Nicole, who actually protects the city. Like I remember this like one scene where he was grabbing Nicole by the arm and he was like, "Do something" and whatnot to save Mina. And I was like, "Dude, that's kind of a shitty thing to do, man. That's not a good look, Ash." So yes, Ash will end up on this list. He's not better than Chris by any, not by a long shot. What else can I say? Next up, we got Lock the Echidna. So if you don't know who Lock the Echidna is, Lock is basically Knuckles' dad in the Archie comics. He's basically trained and raised Knuckles and stuff since he was born. and he's been training him to become the guardian of the Master Emerald for all of his life. But in the Archie comics, Locke has pretty much lied to his son about their ancient society. I can go on for how shitty of a dad Locke is, and hell, I'm not the only one. I'm like even Wiz from Death Battle even knows how much of an asshole Locke is.
Knuckles becomes Chaos Knuckles because his father's a fucking asshole. Long story short, and then he's got the power of Enerjack essentially.
Like, I'm not even kidding. Locke is probably like he's not a terrible character per se, but he's like a terrible dad, bro. Like, he treats Knuckles like shit. Well, he doesn't treat Knuckles like shit. I mean, he cares for Knuckles. He cares for his son a lot. He even sacrifices his own life to save him. But Locke has literally exposed Knuckles when he was born to chaos radiation. You know how dangerous that is? Or how dangerous that could have been? Yeah, he did that behind his own wife's back. He's always been pushing Knuckles ever since he was a kid and whatnot to study like calculus and all that. I was like, God damn, let the man breathe. Let him have a normal childhood. And then he divorced his mom. Like, he divorced not his mom. He divorced Knuckles' mom, and then pretty much went outside the ancient city that they live in, and pretty much taught Knuckles how to be a guardian and whatnot, and pretty much lied to him for all that time. So that was pretty bad. So yeah, so Locke will end up on this list for because I don't know how Chris Thorndyke can obviously top doing all those atrocious things. All right, next up, we got one of my least favorite characters, Snively Robotnik. Now, I think Snively is probably one of the I don't think Snively should honestly come back. I don't know how you can rewrite Snively back into the story unless you're writing him or introducing him as Eggman's nephew or something. I mean, they did in the reboot where he was basically just Eggman's sidekick or assistant and stuff. But honestly, I don't even care much if Snively comes back or not. Because I just don't I don't think it makes sense for Eggman to really, well, I can understand if Eggman has sidekicks and all that, but I feel like he should be surrounded with a more powerful entourage, like something like, I don't know, Shadow Lu or something, or Shao Kahn from Mortal Kombat's Extermination Squad. Like, those guys seem like, oh, shit, it's for real. But I feel like Eggman should have more kind of like, more bad guys and stuff that are in his employ, like the Egg Heavies in Sonic Mania. But Snively, though, he's not really he's sniveling coward, like his name implies. He's terrible. This dude, I just don't think Snively can really stand on his own 2 feet as a character without being in Eggman's shadow, and that's what I think about the character. Obviously, Chris is way above this, so yes, Snively is not a better character than Chris. Next up, we have Joffrey St. John. This is going to be the number one. Joffrey St. John is probably one of the worst characters besides Sonic, in my honest opinion. Now, well, that's just my honest opinion, but Joffrey is the worst. He's number one on this list. Joffrey, I think he doesn't. Now I wouldn't say he doesn't have enough characterization or anything. I think Ian Flynn, and I know I keep talking about Ian Flynn, I think he really improved on Joffrey somewhere around the line where he was working on the Archie comics, where he gave Joffrey but before that, I think Ken Penders had created the character, and basically Joffrey was supposed to be the love triangle. Like, he was supposed to be in this love triangle with Sonic and Sally, pretty much, where he was a much more jealous asshole and stuff, and he would always I don't know, pick fights with Sonic and stuff, and he even tried to kill Sonic at one point because he believed Sonic killed Sally and whatnot. That played into the whole Hershey thing that I was talking about earlier. But but Joffrey, this dude is a total asshole. And then after the whole in-game stuff, and after they dropped the whole love triangle, Joffrey got married to Hershey the cat. And I don't think they've really done much with Joffrey outside of that. Like, he's pretty much just been a character on the side, Like, he would just show up in a cameo or something, or just on the battlefield, but that's about it. I don't think this character does it a whole lot. But not until, I think Ian Flynn was working on this character where they had Joffrey reintroduced as Nagus's new little sorcerer princess and whatnot through his dad, and that basically he was fighting the freedom fighters and whatnot by himself, which that was pretty impressive. But yeah, Joffrey, I think he's a worse character than Chris Thorndyke. Basically, I think I watched this one YouTuber. I can't remember his name at the moment, but I'll probably just put it in the in the video. But basically, he said it best himself that Joffrey's entire purpose is to cuck Sonic, basically. and the original Kim Pender stuff. And yeah, that was pretty much his whole purpose, is to cuck Sonic. Basically, he was supposed to steal Sally's virginity before Sonic and whatnot. He was quick on the draw. He was Sally's first love and all that stuff. Like, yeah, Joffrey clearly is the worst character. Like, is probably the worst character almost in the entire Sonic series. And he's also a sellout to his own friends too. But again, I get it. He was desperate when Hershey the cat, his wife, he believed her to be dead or she was MIA, so he turned to Noggins for help. I understand it, but Chris Thorndyke is by far a better character than any of these guys on this list. And if you think otherwise, please tell me. How are these characters better than Chris? Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. This is the Keenest Fox, and I am out. Peace.